Hey there, friend. Welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. Come on in here. Let's open our Bibles up. This week we're studying Psalm 15. And Psalm 15 is only 5 verses long. So guess what we're going to do this week? A verse per day. Because this is Daily Dose Radio. 5 minutes a day, 5 days a week, studying the Psalms verse by verse. That's all we do here on Daily Dose Radio, study the Psalms. And so today, Psalm 15, and we're just going to look at verse 1 today. Now, Psalm 15, I've entitled this A Definition of the Redeemed. We have 12 items in this psalm that point to the nature, the character of those who are redeemed, those who are born again. When we're born again, we receive a new nature, and our character is changed, and we walk according to the way of the Lord. This is a description of the upright, the righteous man, the one who walks in the Lord's way. And it's not because they're righteous of their own abilities. They're not. They have no righteousness of their own, but they have the imputed righteousness of Christ. Those who walk with the Lord, those who are born again, have this nature, and we're going to see it outlined for us in 12 different pieces here in Psalm 15. Now today, in verse 1, we start off with a good question. The psalmist, he often uses questions to pique our interest and to address a problem, and they're always appropriate. They're always timely. It's, the questions are never, a head scratcher. Why would he ask this? We always look at the questions and say, okay, I would ask that too. And so this is one of those. He would ask this question, and we probably would say, that's a pretty good question. What's the answer, David? And this is a Psalm of David. That's all we have here. So David's been the author of these for quite a while now. We've looked at several Psalms that have been Psalms of David. The choir master is not mentioned. David is. So just a Psalm of David. And so we asked David, okay, David, you asked the question, tell us the answer. And then he does. He tells us exactly the answer to this question. So why don't I read verse 1, and then I'll continue to make my comments. Verse 1, Lord, who shall abide in thy tabernacle? Who shall dwell in thy holy hill? Okay, so we have two questions here. Both of these are basically the same question because this is Hebrew poetry. It's parallelism. We have the mirror operating here between the two parts, the A part and the B part of the couplet, because this is Hebrew poetry. And this is Hebrew poetry at its best. Who shall abide, who shall dwell in thy holy hill, in thy tabernacle? So where the Lord is, in his house. I think I have that. Do I have that in my translation? No, I have tabernacle and holy mountain. But the idea is, in the house of the Lord, who's there? Who's in his presence? Okay, so that's his question. And it's a good question because I think that's one of the questions that we would ask. So if somebody's there, then how did they get there? What were the requirements? What were the qualifications? What resume do you have to abide in the Lord's tabernacle, to dwell in his holy hill, because that's where he is. And so the person who has those things, he's the one that's going to dwell in the Lord's house. And this is a good question coming after Psalm 14. Remember in Psalm 14, he talked about, in Psalm 14, the fool. He said in his heart, there is no God. And then he gives that description from the end of verse 1 all the way through verse 3 of all of mankind. They're all sold under sin. There's not one that does good. There's none righteous. Not one of them is righteous. And so that's the Lord's perspective as he looks out across the sea of humanity. He says, none of them do good. None of them are good. None of them are righteous. And so then we come to Psalm 15, and he asks the questions. Okay, well then, who shall abide in your tabernacle? Who's going to dwell in your holy hill, your holy mountain? So tomorrow we'll begin to answer that question with the first 3 of those defining factors, those defining characteristics of the redeemed. So I hope that you'll join me then here tomorrow as we look at 15 verse 2 here on Daily Dose Radio.